Triple Threat is one of my most anticipated action film of this year. It's pretty much an all-star cast of the best modern martial artists from Asia combined into one film. So can Triple Threat be a ridiculously good time, or will it be just a threat to your senses and intelligence? Welcome to appabendyt's Uncapped. While I'm Indonesian, I can't really fight very well. A blue belt in Taekwondo counts, I guess. Today's review is going to be on Triple Threat, the new crossover martial arts film starring some of the best martial artists from Asia. But before we get to the review, I want to say huge thanks for liking and sharing my videos, subscribing and following me on social media, and for supporting me on Patreon, PayPal, and many other means, links down below. This hasn't been brought up as much in my videos because there haven't been any topics that led me to talk about this, but I really do love myself some good action films. Unfortunately, aside from John Wick, there hasn't been any modern action films in the West that really scratch my itch. That is, if you don't count superhero films as action films, they technically are, but I'm talking about a more basic, more grounded sort of action, like, again, your John Wick. Thankfully, the Eastern action film industry has supplied me with the good stuff, and it's not just from China. Thailand has been really competitive with their action films. Tony Jaa has his Ong Bak series and The Protector as some of my favorites, and I do recommend them. This has gained him attention from the Chinese market with him working on SPL2. Really good action flick, go see it. And of course, the locals here brought you the Raid film series, which are among some of my favorite action films of all time, and skyrocketed Iko Uwais and Joe Taslim's popularity. Now, I'm not exactly an expert in my action films, but I do pay attention to these actors and the films that they star in. This is why Triple Threat is one of my most anticipated film. It stars Iko Uwais, Tony Jaa, Tiger Chen, Michael J. White, Scott Adkins, Selena J, Jija Yanin. God damn, this is such a brilliant cast. It's one hell of a crossover, and it's pretty much expendables for the Asian martial artists. The only people that are missing here are Donnie Yen, Wu Jing, and Zhang Jin. I know a lot of these actors work. Tiger Chen, if you don't know, is Keanu Reeves' freaking teacher, and he starred in a film Man of Tai Chi with Keanu Reeves, and also Iko Uwais was in there. Michael J. White was Gambol in The Dark Knight, but I'm mostly familiar with him and Scott Adkins as Chambers and Yuri Boyka from Undisputed 2. Also, really good action film, highly recommended. Selena Jade is Shadow from Arrow, good cast. Jija Yanin is also a martial artist herself. Raging Phoenix is a really stupid, fun film, and the fight scenes are just insane. She's a badass in that film, and I love it. These are some really talented actors and actresses, so I really cannot wait to see them in this one epic crossover film. Can Triple Threat truly be amongst the top 10 anime crossovers? Yeah? Anyway, let's get into the story. Pretty simple, really. A group of mercenaries led by Michael J. White is entering a camp inside a forest to extract Scott Adkins, with Tiger Chen and Tony Jaa as their trackers. During the raid, Iko Uwais was in that camp and his wife got killed in the result. Tiger Chen and Tony Jaa themselves got duped and left for dead by Michael J. White. Iko swears revenge upon Michael J. White and Scott Adkins' unit by forming an unlikely alliance between him, Tony Jaa, and Tiger Chen, and thus, the Triple Threat. As you can tell, the story is pretty basic overall, and it's really not that great. It's about as basic as action film stories go, and thankfully, it doesn't take itself too seriously. The film is quite lighthearted at times. It doesn't always yield a successful result. It's not exactly Jackie Chan level of humor, but it does put the film into a more self-aware tone, which I wholeheartedly appreciate. But you don't come into a crossover of Asian martial artists and the main cast of Undisputed 2 for the story. What about the action scenes? It's about as great as I expected it to be. They are pretty freaking badass. The camera work is solid, the choreography is fast and powerful, and the actors perform really damn well on their roles using their specific martial arts. I think the gun action scenes could be done better, but as long as the hand-to-hand combat is good, then I'm pretty much good. And since this is a crossover of pretty much a lot of really damn good martial artists, you'd expect most of them to give some solid performance in their martial arts. Unfortunately, that only mostly applies to the three lead cast and Scott Adkins. You do get to see the main cast fighting with the main villain, which is great, but I feel like Michael J. White is severely underutilized in this film. He is shown to be capable of fighting. We've seen him fight before. If you haven't seen Undisputed 2, it's freaking amazing. Go see it. But this film doesn't use him much. He's mostly an intimidating figure in the film, and I want the film to use him more in a lot more fight scenes. Another person that is severely underutilized was Jija Yanin, who plays one of Michael J. White's unit. There are brief scenes of her fighting, but she got beaten immediately. Selena Jade was also disappointing. Despite her, again, being able to fight, she mostly plays a hostage role that doesn't really know how to fight. Maybe in other films for both of you, Raging Phoenix is still pretty awesome. I recommend that. Overall, Triple Threat is a very basic, very fun, but also very flawed action film that delivers everything that most of the goods that I want in an epic martial arts crossover film. The action is fantastic, it's about as good as I expected. The story isn't that great, but no one really cares. Some of the actors are underutilized, which is disappointing, but let's answer the main questions. Do I have a good time? Absolutely. Do I recommend this film? Yes. But it's better if you watch these films first. This is a crossover action film for the fans of any of the three main leads especially, but I do recommend seeing these films so that you can recognize the prowess of these actors and actresses. If you love action films and you want something more modern, these films should deliver you the goods, and Triple Threat is a nice little fan service after all of that. So what are you waiting for? Go check them out.